Any other questions? Yeah.
I was just going to say, one thing that slows me down a lot when I'm working on stuff is when things aren't made part of the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And artists will say, well, I didn't think you were going to be changing that, and it would just be helpful if every bit of type on a page, other than like a design.
Then like folio. I agree.
Everything. I mean, even the little headers, they say, oh, well, we didn't think they would change. It takes time to go back, ask them, they're in the middle of something else. So you have to switch and work on something else, then they get to it, and then if everything on the page could just automatically be made, if that's like normal procedure.
Well, I think the problem is that we don't have like a set procedure, or at least we do, I'm not aware of it, but I totally agree with you. Like, why not make available to you all the text so that you can just change everything you need to? That's my philosophy. So maybe we can work on making a set guideline for setting up Incopy in a file. Because I was doing a lot of research for the class, and I noticed that a lot of workflows don't even use assignment files. They just have the editors open the Incopy file, and I can show you an example of that. I'm going to check in all these things because we're done now. And you see now I didn't get that error message again because last time I clicked don't show it. So we'll close this, and now we're going to open the exact same thing, but instead of the assignment we're going to open the Incopy file. And now, the InDesign file. And now multiple editors can have an InDesign file open. And it's just like the assignment file that anything that I've made an Incopy file is still available to you. I think that assignments, from what I have read online, are designed for people that have to work like off a server, not us who all work on one server. But I mean, for now, keep opening the assignment file because that's our standard workflow, but it might be changing. Now, one thing I don't recommend you doing is opening the Incopy file, like going into the Incopy file and opening golf listings, for example, because this is obviously not how the layout is, so it doesn't really give you a fair view of what the file is. So don't open the Incopy file if it's part of a story already. I know editors will make Incopy files before a story is even built. That's okay, of course, because there's no assignment file to use. But if you're going into an established book, like to do editing, always go into the assignment folder. Yeah?
Another thing I've noticed is that sometimes there will be an assignment folder, but also loose on this view in that folder will be various assignments.
Yeah.
And it's not clear which to open.
What that is a glitch that I can't open this file because it's CS4 and it's on the computer, but it's not on this computer. But when we create assignments in InDesign, by default it makes its own folder with its own naming. But we have a workflow here of putting all the assignments in a folder called assignments. So it makes all these empty folders that we don't have the ability to delete because only certain people can delete things out of Chamber, like only art directors, and because they don't want books to actually accidentally get deleted. And so like a lot of times you'll see a whole bunch of empty files which are just because we created them and then we have to like email someone to delete them and we just haven't got around to it. So unfortunately we can't really control that right now.
So just always go into the assignment folder?
Right, everything should always be in the assignment folder. There should never be loose assignments floating in other folders, and if there are, ask the designer to move it before you work on it. I guess if you ever come into something that's different from this workflow we've talked about today, just talk to your designer and ask them to put it where it should be.
I have another question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, at the beginning when you showed changing styles, and if you don't have a font on your computer, what can happen to the text? And, if you accidentally do change it and you don't have the font, should you just reverse it and then go talk to your artist immediately, because can it screw up the book?
Well,
the layout?
It won't screw up the layout. It will give you not a real representation of the spacing and the line breaks and stuff, because it's putting in that default font. But the second that we open the file on our computer and the font is there, it'll look fine.
But as a rule, as an editor, if we're trying to, make sure the copy fits and things like that.
Yeah, you should ask them. You should ask them.
On it like that, correct?
Yeah. Yes. You should ask them to add that font to the book folder so that you can add it through Type Manager.
I think it's a good rule for us, to not work on it that way, just so.
Yeah, that's true. And the same for.
Really effective.
Yeah, it'll affect the flow and.
Yeah. But since you guys have the ability to see column widths and breaks, it would be really great if you could put line breaks in where you want them. Because it seems like a lot of times they'll get marked on like a proof out instead of just being done like an Incopy when the story first got flowed in.
Well, it seems like we were told that we make fixes up until a certain point in production, and then at that point, only the artist does.
Right.
Yeah, but I think a lot of line breaks get marked early on too.
Oh, early
Not
on.
even in
we
Omega.
definitely do those.
Yeah.
Travis, one thing about us adding line breaks, so if we add line breaks in the beginning and then the artist shifts the columns or like changes anything, then those line breaks will still be there. So then it can create like a giant space at the end of a line. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If the artist doesn't know to pay attention to that. So I've had that happen where I've been told go in and add line breaks, and then when I do, and then the copy shifts or the artist moves things around, then I get it back and there's like giant weird spaces that didn't get fixed. So,
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Should we be adding the line breaks in that case, or should we not, and then wait until the next round? Because
well,
if
I mean,
anything changes, then
ideally the artist should notice if they're changing the width of a column and it's affecting the line breaks. But I know what you're saying. There are some different ways in InDesign that, like some different line breaks. Like there's some that are called like discretionary line breaks, where it only breaks if it gets to like a certain distance to the end of the line. But I'm still like investigating those.
report back.
Yeah, like that's a different character. Does everyone know how to make a line break? Not a paragraph return, but just to make a line break. Okay, yeah, it's shift instead of just enter, it's shift enter, and it's a different character. If we zoom in here, see this. Well, see, this doesn't even have a paragraph marker at the. Oh no, that was just from now. Okay, so this paragraph symbol, that's the end of a paragraph. But this little line with the down.
It's also called a soft return.
Yeah.
The shift, right?
Yeah. Or I think up here it's called. You can go to insert a break character, and it's called a forced line break. See, there's this discretionary line break that I'm still reading about, because I think that it will only break the line if it's a certain distance from the end, but I'm still looking at it. So for now, we're still using forced line breaks, which is shift enter. Some other shortcuts that are on your chart, if you want to zoom out quickly, like to see the whole screen, you can do Control-0. We'll show you the whole page. And Control-Alt-0 will show you the whole spread. Any other questions? Okay.